everybody. This is Steve Butts with IGN. I'm here with my close personal friend, Ryan McCaffrey.
Hi, Steven.
Hi, Ryan.
Can I call you Steven? Probably not, right?
That's fine with me. Right. I'm pretty open to that. We're taking a look today. Avalanche Studios just released the new trailer. They're calling this a gameplay trailer.
It's sort of half and half.
Sort of half and half here. I think it's a little bit misleading. But this is for the new game Mad Max. It's due out in 2014. We saw this at E3. It was revealed during the PlayStation conference. And some people were excited. Some people were not. I mean, it's a more than 30-year-old movie at this point that they're finally making a game for.
The reason I think we should care about this, Steve, is one reason and one reason alone. And we saw this earlier in the video, and that's Avalanche Studios. These guys made the Just Cause series, which I feel is still a very underrated open-world series. That game is just fun. You know, the whole hook of that game was you would just fly around, skydive out of things. You had the grappling hook. You could latch onto stuff. And we see some of the DNA of Just Cause in this video as we go along.
We definitely see a little bit of it, and it makes sense for this kind of world, right? I mean, Mad Max is the game looks like it's obviously borrowing a lot from Borderlands. Maybe that's unfair because Mad Max sort of, set the tone for that type of thing. But it's very much that kind of game. Let's back it up a little bit and get to some of the car combat here.
Yeah, let's first of all, by the way, we should talk too, if we go all the way back. Max was originally American in this game, but fan outcry.
Right.
Chalk up another victory for fan outcry. They are switching to an Australian actor,
which I think makes a lot of sense.
Of
and
course.
I'm kind of disappointed though because I feel like they should have thrown that into this trailer as like a look, like we listened to you guys. And
well, they probably haven't cast the guy yet, right? Or who knows?
That would be my guess. But I mean, even the narration is sort of an American accent here, which is a little disappointing, I think, for people who were hoping that this would be a little more faithful to the source material. But as far as the folks at Avalanche have told us, let's back it up just a little bit there.
Yeah, let's.
This is a completely original story, has nothing to do with Australia, nothing to do with the original Mad Max. They're just taking the concept of this dystopian world where fuel is in short supply and becomes sort of this critical resource. And you have Max here, who's a member of basically sort of a quasi-police force, I guess.
Yeah.
And so he's a law enforcer, but he's also sort of an anti-hero. You don't really know if you like him or he's a good guy yet.
We see here he's nursing some sort of long-term knee injury, wearing that knee brace.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing has this sort of like reconstructed feel, which I think is really cool. It's got that I mean, we see the same sort of thing in tons of other games of Fallout and whatnot. Back it up there just 1 second. You can see the fuel tanks in this other car.
I wanted to note that as well.
Yeah, so I mean, fuel is obviously a big resource in this game, and like Borderlands, it's going to be highly customizable. But the customization, it sounds like, is going to focus mostly on your car. It's not so much your
and actually, we see that in this same scene as well, Steve. If you check out the wheels, you can see the spikes on the wheels. So clearly, we're going to have some good times in the car combat, a little Twisted Metal type action.
Absolutely,
maybe.
Yeah. And I mean, this is something the player would decide. Hey, do I want to spend the resources I have on these, or would I like to do something else with my car, which
also
to me is pretty exciting.
Take note of the payload on the back of this truck. Looks highly explosive, doesn't it, Steve?
I think that might pay off a little bit later in this trailer.
I think you're right.
You also see another guy hanging on the car there. That's going to be an issue as well. You can sort of have car-to-car combat, but also have some outside of the car combat that's relative to
right here, we see, if I can just focus. There we go. That's a good look at it. Yeah. So we actually saw, remember, this from Just Cause. You could leap. We saw this in Sleeping Dogs as well, where you could carjack a car in motion. So I think we'll see that. These guys are all just hanging out.
And there's Max, lonely, just wandering. You see some ships out there. No, obviously there's also hand-to-hand combat. There's combat outside of the cars as well. Both
we'll see some of these
melee combat
finishing moves.
But back up there for just a second. I think what we're getting a look at here is the V8 Interceptor, the old Pursuit Special that Max drives. You see the air intake there on top.
Yep.
This to me looks like the car from the movie, and I think they're trying to suggest that this is
and take a look at it here because this gives further evidence to the customizable element. We'll see this a little bit different later.
Yeah, if you look at the hood, the manifold there, it's going to be very, very different in an upcoming scene.
We are definitely in Australia because look where the steering wheel is. Right-hand drive car.
Oh, my gosh. Wow, there's a nod to the Australians. Love that. Yeah, so and here's another look at that same car, right?
Yep.
So it's you see the back there.
And the hand-to-hand combat. So clearly, I think we're going to see some there we go. The finishing moves. Some melee finishing moves there to really brutalize, drive it home.
And we've been told that this is not necessarily set in Australia. It's just sort of this indiscriminate location. They wanted to make it a little more accessible to a global audience, which, on the one hand, I totally get from a marketing standpoint.
Australia is a place that everyone in the world knows. I don't get I don't get that.
If you back it up just a couple of seconds, I think we see like there's some maybe some oil derricks or something burning in the background.
Yeah, I noticed this as well. You can see it at the beginning of the trailer, too.
I'm not sure what that is going on back there, but I mean, if the whole focus on this world is, fuel is scarce and things have just gone to crap, that's a great image to sort of sell that story.
The man they call
Max.
He's got the dog tags.
Not Max Payne.
Gets in the old Pursuit Special, and there we go.
Yeah, so here's the car combat in action. Love to see it. Destructible cars. You see that all the parts came flying off, and some blood.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right there.
Absolutely. I mean, it's supposed to be a completely physics-based engine, so none of this stuff is canned. It's all supposed to be dynamic and play out as it would in real life. Well, maybe not real life, but I mean, a fun abstraction of real life where the cars have real weight and real damage models.
Speaking of fun, physics-based zip lines are always fun.
Sure, who wouldn't like that?
So check this guy out. Rival tribesman.
Yeah, I'm guessing so. I'm guessing this is one of the bad guys in the wasteland that Max is going to have to confront. I obviously don't have any reference for him from any of the movies. I mean, he doesn't look like Toe Cutter or any of the other guys that you'd remember from the film, but just sort of generic post-apocalyptic bad guy.
And here we go. We can see the car having been upgraded.
Yeah, so he's got more stuff on the hood there. So obviously you'll be able to upgrade not just the external cosmetic elements of your car or the weapons, but also sort of its internal performance components as well.
And that's a finishing move. Got a good look at that. Oh. There's that truck.
There you go. There's
from the beginning of the video, on fire, and...
That was maybe not such a good idea to do that. But also probably not a good idea on Max's part to ram into it.
To be nearby, yeah.
But you can see here, I mean, you can't tell necessarily just from looking at it, but the cars are meant to have a tremendous amount of weight and sort of feel like a real car, so it's not going to be swimming around or having that sort of weird hovering feeling that you get sometimes in car combat games.
Yeah. Worth noting here at the splash screen, that this is actually a cross-gen game coming to everything. Xbox One, 360, PS3, PS4, PC.
And PC as well. Yeah, I'm a little curious about this, Ryan. What do you think about the Mad Max as a brand? I mean, how do you feel this sort of works for Avalanche?
So I'm 32, coming up on 33 here, pretty quick, Steve, and I've never seen the original, and I would venture to say the sort of 18 to 34 core gamer demographic might largely be in this. I mean, I know the movie's a cult classic, right? And maybe it's just me. It's just a gap in my pop culture knowledge. But yeah, it seems like an odd choice for IPs, for
Mm-hmm.
existing things to dredge back up. Dredge is a negative connotation. I don't mean it that way, but to bring back as a game IP. It's almost like, remember several years ago, last generation, there was a Dirty Harry game in development that ultimately got canceled. It's sort of the same thing. Like, well, wait a second.
Well, Sierra released in 2003, I think it was, a Die Hard game. And
that's
like,
true.
Really?
There have been a few Die Hard games, actually. But they're still making Die Hard movies.
That's true. That's true. Well, I mean, they are making a new Mad Max movie soon, and hopefully, I guess they'll try to ride the wave of marketing momentum that generates, even though these two projects are completely separate from each other.
But really, it's about, is the IP a good fit for a video game? And as we see here with the car combat stuff, the upgradability, the open world combat, and most of all, holding it all together, the pedigree of developer Avalanche Studios, who we have no reason to doubt. Like, these guys have a track record. It's definitely, it's not something that I'm fired up for because it's Mad Max. I'm actually fired up for it, as I've said, because of Avalanche Studios. That is where my interest comes from.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times when we preview games that have this same sort of visual visual aesthetic, the developers will always say Mad Max was a huge inspiration to us. So it's good to see Mad Max finally getting his own game. So that's it from us. For more on Mad Max and all things video games, keep it locked to IGN.